Hey guys, so let's continue from where we left off. So let's add more pages and learn to set up fixed or sticky top and bottom menus. Just gonna skip over
Information
here.
about the elephant. So you've got a large image, the title, as well as some paragraphs describing elephants, and finally a section describing where you're going to find the elephants inside the zoo. All this is inside a semi-transparent box, and the semi-transparent box is against
Okay, so it
a
looks like we're
blur
making the
background.
pages for
So this
each
in a
animal
way
here.
is similar to the animals page. In the animals page, we've got the blur background and we've got the white boxes, the semi-transparent white boxes, except that in the elephants page, we've just got a single large box. Now we are going to make the elephants page. To begin with, we're going to create a new file. So we right click and click on new file. We're going to call this one elephants.html.
Okay, let's go ahead and do
We start
that.
off again with a blank page,
And
but
I
this
just moved
page
the app
is
off
going to
to the
be
side
very
here so
similar
that
to
we can see it a bit better.
animals.html.
Let's
In
close
fact,
all of this.
other than the section
Let's
or the
create
hyperlinks that come
elephants.html.
between the contents divs, it's actually identical. So we're going to select all of the content of animals.html and we're going to paste it inside elephants.html. Now, looking at this very carefully, we go to div id is equal to content, and we simply delete all the hyperlinks that we added in between.
Okay, so we take animals here. We're going to copy everything and paste it into the elephant one. Let's close animals so we don't accidentally delete from the wrong file here. And then here we want to delete all of these A links here. So the reason why we're doing this is just to preserve the styling. We want this page to look the same as the animal page. So we want the styles that are on main and content here, and also the top tabs and bottom tabs. So now we want to link off to this elephant page when we click on the elephant button here. So I'm going to open the animals.html file, and here where we created the link for elephant, it's down here, the elephant link. I'm going to change this href here to be animals.elephant.html. And if I save this now and I click here, it will take me to the elephant page. So I'm going to head back here, and on the elephant page we can't click on the animals there because we don't have it linked properly. So I'm just going to do that quickly. Up here on animals, we just change that to animals.html and we save that. Okay, so let's head back here.
Now you got to be careful that you delete only the hyperlink. So you're starting off with an A tag and you're finishing off with a close A tag. Make sure you're not deleting any divs by mistake. All right, once you've selected all, click on delete, and now you are good to go. What do we do now? From this point forward, we're going to add a new div inside content. We're going to call this div id is equal to, and this one will be called info-box-full. All right, so this will be the large type information box.
Okay, let's create that quickly. So let's close this animals file so we don't get confused. In between the content divs here, we want to do div and dot. Remember, the dot is how we add a class. Dot info box dash full. Then we hit tab here and it will create a div with the class of info box full. And we just want to open that up to put stuff in between it. And now let's head back.
Hit enter a couple of lines because we're going to put some information in between these two divs. So we start off with an image. And the source of this image will be the images folder, and we're going to find.
So let me just open up the comments here just in case. Make it really small here in the top corner. Okay, so let's continue with this.
The elephant image. Now there are two elephant images, as you can see. One is elephant TN and the other one is just elephant. So we're going to go with elephant, not the TN, which is.
Okay, so inside of this info box full, he put an image tag, and for the SRC he did images / elephant, and it's the normal elephant one, not the TN one. Also, make sure your images are inside of the images folder and not just randomly scattered about somewhere. You need to link it properly here. If it's in the images folder, you need to say images here. If it's not in the images folder and your HTML is in the same folder with it, then you just give the name of the image here. If it's in some other folder somewhere else on your computer, bring it into the project first. And yeah.
Is the thumbnail image. So we click on elephant, close the image tag, and we're done with this line. Going on to the next line, we add an H3, and we're going to call, or we're going to put in the text elephants inside there. And after this comes a few paragraphs. Now we've copied and pasted this information from Wikipedia. You can do the same. I'm simply going to copy the paragraphs and I'm going to paste them in here.
Okay, so you must have it down here. I'm just going to do the same, copy it and paste it. And that's really messy, but anyways, to clean this up a bit, we press Alt, Shift and F, and that will format your code to make it look a bit better. It's not really going to help that much here because of how messy these p tags are, but yeah. Let's minimize this and see what it looks like here. Okay, so now we have some text here. I think the next step he's going to do is to add a background here, because you can't really read the text right now. It doesn't contrast enough from the background.
Alright, so we've got paragraph 1, 2, it's ready. Now let's save this. Control S saves it. Actual elephant page. Save this and check it out.
We already updated our link to take us to the elephant page.
Browser. Done. And that.
So let's head to the next lesson now. And remember guys, I'm trying to get to 1,000 subscribers. I'm already at 600, so make sure you're subscribed.
Styling to our elephants page. To do this, we go to our style sheet. Back in the style sheet, we're going to add a comment. So the first thing we do is we go and select our comment, copy it, and paste it towards the bottom of the file.
Okay, I'm still not going to be adding these comments. There's no use to them.
Full.
But I think you guys should add the comments as well.
Now we're going to add styling for the info.
Let me show you that shortcut again. So in any programming language within VS Code, you press Control and / and this will add a comment in that programming language. Let me open up the CSS and show you that as well. So press Control and / and it adds in that comment here.
Info box. Alright, so we start off by using the hash character. Remember, in the elephants.html page, we've set the ID is equal to info-box-full. Now we have to be very careful to match this name perfectly. If we don't match the name, then the styling will simply not apply. So back to style, info-box-full, curly brackets, and now we start styling. We start by giving the info box a background color. Again, we'll use the RGBA color notation rather than giving it a color name or hexadecimal value. Now, the reason we use RGBA here is because with the RGBA colors, you can adjust the transparency of the background color.
By the way,
Alright,
here,
so we'll set this one to 255,
RGBA
255,
or other things as well,
255,
and I hit tab, you'll notice that some
all
of
three
them
of
have
which
this like gray
the
selection
color
on
white. And finally, we'll put in a 0.8, just like we.
Okay, 255, 255.8. Okay. But yeah, what I was saying is some of these will have this gray selection thing on them. And what that means is we can like type in a value here. And if I were to press tab right now, it will automatically take me to the next thing with the gray thing on it. So that's just to help you fill out things quicker. So let me press tab now. Now 255, I'll press tab again, it will take me here. And then if I press tab again, it will take me to the last section. So notice whenever things have this gray selection background color on it, it's just easy to tab through it instead of clicking with your mouse. And that looks better to read. Head back here.
We did for the mini info boxes. Next, we'll give it a width of 90%. We'll set its display type. We'll set its display type to block. We'll give it a margin of auto. Now, an auto margin is to center position something on the screen. So this box is going to be positioned in the center of the screen.
It's centered here.
Then we give it a margin top of 12 pixels.
Margin top of 12 pixels. Save this.
And finally, a padding all round of 10 pixels. Alright, let's save this and see what it looks like in the browser.
Padding of 10 pixels.
Back in the browser, I refresh, and there you have it. You can see that my information box is in place. It's just now the image and the text that needs a bit of styling. Let's go back and style it. Next, we'll put in some styling for the image. Hash info dash box dash full img. Now, this means any image that comes inside info box full.
I've already explained how
so we give
using
it a style
multiple selectors works in the previous stream.
and it's just one line of code here where we give it a width of 100%. In other words, this image will always be 100% of the width of info box full. Now let me explain what that means. Looking at our browser again, we see that the elephant picture is actually bleeding over the edge of the information box. Now this is because the image is bigger or wider than the info box. By setting the image width, the maximum width of the image to 100%, we are ensuring that the image always stays within this information box and never bleeds out of it, like it's doing here.
So to be more clear on that, we're not setting the image width to 100% of the image, we're setting it to 100% of the box. So originally it was larger than the box, and by setting it to the size of the box, we're scaling it to be exactly the same size as the box, so it fits inside. When we use percentages like this, we're usually scaling it to its parent div. So here we're scaling image here to its parent div, which is the box. So when we say 100%, we mean take up 100% of your parent, and that's the box.
Finally, we'll style the H3. Here again, there's just one single line of text, which is text align, and we give it a text align of center. Let's save this and head to the browser. In the browser, we refresh, and there we have it. Everything is.
Let's head to the next section here because we've done all of this. Places page. Okay, let's see what this is about.
Click on the Places link at the top. It takes you to a page that shows all of the attractions that you might find at the zoo, other than the animals, of course.
Okay, so I'm going to take a guess here, and this looks exactly the same as the animals page. So we just copy that over and then change the images and the H3 or whatever the heading type is, and then the paragraph tags here.
Attractions like insect house, monkey trail, amphitheater, etc., etc. Now, if you compare the places page with the animals page, you'll notice something.
Yep, it's exactly the same.
The two are almost identical in every way. The places page, as far as the coding goes and as far as the styling goes, is almost identical. In fact, the only difference between animals and places is the content. So we've got different images and we've got different text. So keeping this in mind, we are now going to make the places.html page. We start off by creating a new file, which we'll call places.html.
Okay, so let's minimize
now
this.
Since places.html is almost identical to animals.html, it just makes sense that we go to animals.html, press Ctrl A to select everything, and just simply make a copy of it. So once you've selected everything, press Ctrl C,
for that places.html,
go back to places.html, and
pause this. So now we want to open animals.html. We want to click into it and press Shift and A, I think. No, it's Control and A. And that will select everything. And then we want to press Control C. And then go to the places and press Control V. Then save it and go back to animals. And we just close this. So now we only have places opened here. And then we want to delete all of these links except for, actually let's just wait, because we can still use them. We just change the images and stuff that are in here. So let's go back and see what he does.
Control V.
And also let's change the link here because we already know what he's going to do. In index here, we want to change the places link to places.html. I'm going to close this. Then let's open the elephant page here. And I'm going to change this to places.html, save it, close it. And lastly, our animals page here, and do the same thing. Close it. And yeah, that should be good.
The next step will be to identify our hyperlinks. We'll leave just one hyperlink, just the first one, which is elephants.html, and then we'll remove the others. It's not strictly necessary to remove them, but for simplicity, I'm just going to remove them.
Yeah, it would be a bit simpler to look at if we didn't have these ones as well. And we can just copy this down when we want more. Let's actually look at what this looks like first. So, okay, it looks the same as the animals page basically, because it is the same. And let me put this down here where it won't get in the way of anything.
I'm going to put is the insect house. So I'm going to find, or let's do this. Let's go in an alphabetical order. All right, so the first one that appears is amphitheater TN. So the first attraction we'll put is amphitheater. And TN again stands for thumbnail. So when you hover over the image, you see a small version of the image, a thumbnail of the image. All right, inside the H3, I type in amphitheater. Just checking my spelling.
Here.
Looks good.
And for the description.
And for the description,
let's copy this.
We'll simply type in catch an educational and entertaining event, just to double check my spellings.
Okay, so it looks right here.
Looks about right. Okay, now we're going to test this out in our browser. Now notice we didn't mention anything about styling, and the simple reason for that is the places.html page does not need any styling. It'll simply pick up the exact same styling that we created.
Okay, so I'm not going to go over every single one here. It's just copies of the same thing with the image and the text changed. So I'm just going to copy the 3 other ones here. Now we press Alt-Shift-F to put it in a good format. Let's save. And let me minimize this. So the gems block thingy here. We copied the wrong code because it's giving us animals here. So let me just get rid of that. Wait, are we on the right thing here? Here we are. Okay, I'm just curious why it says elephant up there. But it looks like I just forgot to remove the link here, so I'll change that to a hash. So I'm not sure why they added these ones down here. It's not part of what he's teaching here.
So we'll simply places.html and we click on places and is to add the...
Okay, we've already seen how to link it. Let's go to the next lesson.
Now in the previous video I picked up a problem with my app, and in this lesson we're going to address that problem. Now the problem that I found was when I was in the elephants page and I tried to go to places, it didn't work. Now when I tried from elephants to go to the map page and the animals page. So it works as far as the map page goes, but going from elephants to animals or to places doesn't work. Now, the reason for this is I haven't fixed my menus in my elephants.html
Okay, so I've already
page.
done this.
In fact, I've added all of my pages for the different animals, and I have to ensure that every animal page has every hyperlink working properly.
Make sure
now, this is one of the big challenges of app development. We're always in a hurry to move forward and get things done, but we forget some of the small little things that may cause bugs in the system. Now, let's go to elephants.html and
you can do the same for the other pages as well. But I'm not going to waste your time
elephants.html, you can see exactly where the...
So let's go to the next lesson here. And insert house page.
Now, in the finished version of the app, when you click on any of the links in the places page, it takes you to a page describing that page or that place or attraction in the zoo.
Okay, and you can see from that it's the same as the animal page.
This page, and that is, this page is almost identical to the elephants page, with the exception of the image and the text. In every way, if you look at the coding, you look at the styling, it is in fact identical to the elephant page. Now we're going to make our places pages, and to start off with those, we're going to make copies of elephants.html because they are almost identical. So let's start. We begin by creating a new file which we'll call amphitheater.html.
Okay, so I'm just going to do this for one. I'm not going to add all of the places and all of the pages. You'll do it the same way that you do it for one. You just do the same thing for each one. So let's go here and create a page for this amphitheater thing. I'm just going to name it amp.html because I can't spell the full word. But anyways, amp.html. And in here, we want to copy that elephant page. So open elephant.html and Control and A to select everything, then Control and C, and then want to come back to the amp.html page and paste that in here. Then we close this elephant page, and now we're in the AMP page here. We can just change the wording and the pictures here. So let's see what he does.
Check my spelling before I hit enter. Looks good, and I hit enter. Now, again, the thing with amphitheater.html is that it's going to be almost identical to elephants.html. So I simply go to elephants.html, Control A to select if everything is not already selected.
Okay,
in
let's
my
just skip through
Control
this.
C to copy. Now there's just a couple of changes we need to make. The first thing we need to do is to change the image. The image we're going to put is garden amphitheater.
Okay, let's change it to that. Garden. Okay, let's select this. Let me minimize this and see if it works. Oh, we need to link it here. So let's go to the places page. And here for the link on the first tag, the one where the H3 says amphitheater, we want the href here to be amp.html. Or if you named your file something else, then just type that here. But I named mine amp.html. I can't spell the full word amphitheater. So I'm just going to click on this, and now it will take us here and show us this image, and then we need to change the text here, which will follow along with this guy.
JPG. So we'll select that one. Then we're going to change the heading of the page to amphitheater. And finally, all the paragraphs relating to elephants we're going to remove, and we're going to replace it with paragraphs relating to the amphitheater. Now I've copied the information for the amphitheater and I'm simply going to paste it in here. You can copy.
Okay, so it's just he writes the word amphitheater there, and then he has some text for the p tag. So I'm just going to copy that and paste it in here. Then I'm going to get rid of this p tag completely. Okay, so you don't want to do that right now. We're in the places.html file. So let me close this and make sure we're in the correct amp.html file, or whatever you named your amphitheater file. Going to select the text here that says elephant and replace it. And then we'll get rid of this p tags here. So here, we don't want to scroll and select this entire line like this. An easier way to do it is you select the line that you want and you triple click, so 3 clicks. And that selects the entire line. Okay, and now we want the p tag here. I'm just going to copy it. I'm not going to type out all of this. And I think he just copies his as well. So we'll copy that. We'll paste it in here. And now if I minimize this, it gives you this. Okay, so let's head back.
And paste this from the code below this video in the lesson.
Okay, so you're recommended.
Alright, so we've got a paragraph,
anyway.
Another paragraph, we've got a UL, an unordered list, a few list items, and finally a couple of other paragraphs. Let's save this and head back to places.html, where we're going to update the hyperlink. So you'll notice,
okay, so we've already updated our
type
hyperlink.
it in or type in the first couple of letters and click on it, and we've got it set. Let's save this and see what it looks like in the browser. Back in the browser, I refresh my places page and click on the amphitheater page, and there we have it. Now this is the beauty of amphitheater.html.
Okay, let's head to the next lesson here. And it looks like this part is complete. So next is section 4. We're going to add more pages and set up a contact page with a contact form. So I guess now we're going to do forms. Well, we're starting out with the weather page here. I'm going to move this back to the top now, because now we're looking at the bottom links here.
The weather page of our app is probably the most complicated page, but it's not even that difficult. It starts off with the header, which says Pine City Weather. It has a little icon showing the status of today's weather, a brief description, the maximum and minimum temperatures for today, as well as the current temperature. And below that, there's a table with a forecast of the weather for the remainder of the week. So we have the day of the week, a little icon, and the maximum and
so it's going to be annoying to make,
temperatures for those days.
We can get through it
We are now
quickly.
going to make the weather page. To start off with, we go and create a new file.
When
We'll
you're
call
actually
this
doing this like in your own projects, you don't type all of this
weather.html.
out manually. You like pull it from an API or something.
Now weather.html again is very similar to some of our other pages like elephants.
So let's create that page. Weather.html. And again, just make sure you're subscribed if you're watching this. I'm trying to get to 1,000 subscribers and I'm at 600 right now.
elephants.html. So again, we're going to make a copy of elephants.html.
Okay, so now we want to paste elephants.html in here. Again, look, I made a mistake here. So when you press Ctrl and A to select everything, you don't want to be inside of this folder area here. So I'm going to click out of this and click inside the file here, and then press Ctrl A. It will select everything. I'll press Ctrl C to copy it, and then close this, and I'll paste it in the weather file. Make sure you're in the weather file and not in a different one. And we'll paste it here, save it. And I want to close this amp thingy here now because we're done with that. And let's go back and see what it does.
And paste it inside weather.html. Press Ctrl V to paste. Next, we'll remove all of the paragraphs because we're not going to be needing paragraphs in this page.
Okay, looks like I've deleted everything here. No, I did the right thing. Okay, so we have an image and an H3 left here. Let me link this weather button here to that page. So here at the bottom, I'm gonna have to update it on every single one. Just to quickly go through this, I'm just going to manually put in here weather.html, and it will take us to this weather page. You can just connect this to the link on one of the pages. Well, let me just show you that because people are going to get confused now. So here I clicked on map, so we're in the index page here. I'm going to open index here, and at the bottom here where it says weather, I'm going to change the href here to weather.html. I'll save it, and now we can click here and it will take us to the weather. But remember that we'll only work on the index page now because that's the only page we've updated this link on. If I go to like animals here or something, I won't be able to click on weather, because in the animals page at the bottom here, this weather link doesn't go anywhere. So let me close all of this, and we have to go to the index page, click on weather, and now we're on the weather page. Okay, what's going on here now?
And we're also going to remove the image, the elephant.jpg image. We're going to remove the entire line that is responsible for adding the image.
Why did I take out that H3?
And then finally, we'll change the heading to say Pine City weather. Below that, we'll put in a paragraph, and inside the paragraph, we'll put in an image. We'll set the image class to info box weather icon. Info dash box dash weather dash icon.
That's a huge class name, but anyways. Let's do a p tag. Inside here we'll do an image tag, and before you tab here I'm going to type dot and info dash box dash weather dash icon. I'll hit tab here, and I'll get rid of this alt thingy here. And then for the source, let's see
source of the image to images, and oops, I spelled that wrong. Partly cloudy dot.
Okay, so it's in our images folder. Let's save this. Let me minimize this so we can see it here. And then obviously it's a bit too big here. So that's why he gave it a class here, so we can style it using that class.
PNG. Now I'm choosing partly cloudy, but you can choose any one of the icons that are given to you. Alright, so the icons that are given are the full sun, partly cloudy, rainy. Yeah, those are the ones that are given. So you've got your image and you've got your paragraph. We haven't closed the image tag. And immediately after closing the image tag, we'll type in partly cloudy. That's before the image, the paragraph closing tag. On the next line, we add another paragraph, and immediately after this, we're going to put the ASCII code for the up arrow. Now, if you notice here, before the 25 degrees, there's an arrow. Now, this arrow is not on our keyboard.
Now here, after the image tag, he just wrote partly cloudy. So let's scroll to the end here. After the image tag, it's still inside of the P tag. To write partly cloudy. Save this and see what it looks like. Okay.
So we can't simply type in an arrow before the number 25. What we need to do is to put in the ASCII character. Now, ASCII characters or ASCII codes are special codes that represent characters that are not on our keyboards. So the ASCII code for up arrow is this one, ampersand U A R R semicolon.
Okay, so let's add another P tag down here. And it's the AND symbol, UARR. Save that. Let's see if it looks right. And it just shows a question mark here. No, it does look right. Yeah, it's the up arrow.
Semicolon. Now this code will display an arrow on our screen. Immediately after that, we put in the number 25, and after the 25, we're going to put in another ASCII code.
Okay, so 25, save.
Which will be ampersand DEG.
The AND symbol, DEG, and then the semicolon.
Now this will be the ASCII code for the degree character or the degree symbol. Looking at our page,
this degree
it's this one.
Here.
The little tiny circle that serves as the symbol for degrees. We leave a space and we add yet another ASCII code, and this one will be ampersand DARR semicolon. This is for down arrow, and we'll put in the number 16 and follow that with the ASCII code for degree and ampersand DEG semicolon.
Correct. So the codes are UARR, that's for the up arrow, and then DARR for down arrow, and then DEG for the degree symbol.
Below that, we put in an H1.
Also, don't try and memorize like these weird ASCII tags and all of that. You can just Google it when you need to use it. Nobody memorizes static stuff like this. You're just gonna waste your own time if you try and memorize all of that.
one, and we set its class to
So now we're
info
doing an H1 here
box
and a class of info box weather.
Icon. Close that.
Isn't that what we named the icon?
Close the H1.
It is. Okay, I guess they're both going to be styled the same way then. So that's just an H1 with the class of that. Put it down here. H1 dot info box with the icon.
On tag, and we'll put a number inside there. 22, and follow that with the ASCII code for degrees.
Okay, so 22, and if we remember the code, it's and DEG, and then the semicolon. Save that. Let's see what it looks like. Okay.
Which is ampersand DEG semicolon. Next, we're going to place our table. Let's leave a couple of lines. Put a paragraph followed by the word strong, that's strong tag, which I've spelled incorrectly. I'm just going to fix that up. Strong. Now, strong is the same as bold. It makes your text bold. And inside this, we'll put in the word forecast.
Here he has a P tag with the strong tag inside of it, and then the word forecast inside of that. So a quick way to get this done here is, let me just, it's a bit messy to work in here. Okay, so a P tag, and then we put this symbol greater than, and then the next tag we want, which is strong, and then we hit tab here, and it will automatically create a P tag with the strong tag inside of it. And inside of here, we want the word forecast. Again, let me show you that one more time. We put P and then a greater than sign, and then the next tag we want is strong, and this will create a P tag with the strong tag inside of it. So we hit tab here. We save this.
Directly below this, our table will come. So we got a table open and close tag. Now, before we actually start building our table, let's take a look at what our page looks like currently. But before we can actually look at the page, we need to
let's add in the table here
and fix some hyperlinks. Now, if you go to index.html, you'll see at the bottom, in tabs bottom, there's, in place of the weather link, there is a hash.
Okay,
so I'm
so
going to change
I've already
this
showed you how to update that.
weather.html.
So
for the
just
time
change
being, I'm
that
just going
to
to
weather.html on all your pages. But I just changed one on the index because I don't want to go through every single page and update every single one to say weather.html here. We all get the idea of what we're supposed to do. So let's just hit the next button here. Now we're setting up the table here.
In this lesson, we're going to complete our weather page by completing the table. So we've already got our table open and close tags, which we added in the previous lesson. Now we're going to add a row. So we've got our TR open and close tags. Hit enter a couple of times, and inside here
So from the way he's going, I don't think he's going to explain what each of these tags mean, but I actually have a video about tables and TRs and TH and TD on my channel. So go check out the Web Basics playlist. That will explain everything about tables, and it has a lot of HTML, CSS, and JavaScript stuff inside there. But now let's do a TR tag inside here. Save this.
We're going to place a couple of TDs. So the first TD, spelled that wrong. The first TD,
so we'll put a couple of TDs inside of the TR.
will show the day of week. The second one will display an image, which will be the icon. So we'll set the image class is equal to info box weather icon.
Okay, so it looks like we're using that class for all icons here. So get rid of this text and we'll use image here. If you're wondering how I duplicated that line there, you click on the line that you want to duplicate and you press Alt plus Shift, and then while you're holding down both of those you press the down arrow. And inside of here we want an image tag with the class of info box weather icon. Okay, looks like I did the wrong thing here, so I meant to put a dot here, and now if I press tab here it will write the correct thing, image with the class of info box weather icon. And I'm going to delete the alt text here.
And it's sourced to one of the weather icons that we have. So we'll set this one source to images and sunny.png.
Okay, let's set it to one of the weather icons. We'll do images / sunny or whatever. Save this, minimize it, and now we have this down here. Again, if you want to learn about tables and TR and TD and all of that stuff, make sure you check out the Web Basics playlist on my channel.
Alright, don't forget to close the image tag, the / and the close angle bracket. Alright, the third column will show the maximum temperature. So it will be an up arrow followed by a number. So we put in the ASCII code for up arrow. So it will be ampersand UARR semicolon followed by a number, which will be the maximum temperature for that day. That will be 28.
Then we put
And finally,
TEG.
one last column which will show the minimum temperature for that day. ASCII code DARR semicolon.
Okay, so he didn't add the degrees here, but we'll just leave it in because I think it looks better that way. We'll copy this down, and here it's DARR. And we'll set this to something like 14. Doesn't matter if we use the exact same numbers or not. We're just, who cares if this says 14 or 20 something or 7, whatever.
And we put in a number, say 17. So that's one row of our table done. Now let's have a look at this in our browser. Save it. And back in the browser, We refresh, and there we have it. Our table is not visible because we haven't styled the table as yet. We haven't put any styling for the table borders. You can see that the icon is too large and there's no spacings in our table. Everything is squashed up to one side, to the left side of the page. But we're going to fix all of this with some styling. In the meantime, we're going to complete the table. So we're going to make a copy of this TR from the open to the close TR.
Okay, let's duplicate this, copy it. After the closing TR here, you add extra lines, and then you paste the next TR tags here, which is just a copy of this. And then you can change the day here to like Wednesday. And then you can change the image here to like rainy. And it can be 17 to the minimum will be like 8. Okay, let's save this. And now we have Wednesday, which is rainy, and the maximum is 17 and the minimum is 8. So let's head back here.
TR tags. Select Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and we change the days.
Okay, so he's just doing the same thing here.
And you've got rain, for example.
Now I only added 2 here, Tuesday and Wednesday, but you can copy this TR and paste it down as many times as you want, and then just update the day and the image and all of that stuff. I'm not going to waste time here and copy all of them. It's just the same thing over and over again. So I'm going to head to the next lesson here, since in this lesson all he does is just copy the TR over and over again. Or you can even just come down here and take all of the TRs from here if you want. But yeah, let me just skip through this video to make sure that's all he does.
Numbers. Here we have it. Our table is now complete. 6 rows for the 6 days.
Okay, so I'm going to hit next here. And now he's beginning to style it.
We are now going to style our weather.html page. So we go to our style sheet.
Style.css here.
And we'll put in a comment at the end of the file. We'll simply copy one and paste it instead of retyping. And inside here we'll state weather. Now the styling for the weather page is surprisingly simple. Alright, we're going to start off with img.info-box-weather-icon.
Okay, so now he's styling an image, so img with the class of info box weather icon. And make sure you spelled that correctly, and it's the same way you spelled it here in all of the class names. In fact, copy it from here and paste it here to make sure you typed out the correct thing, because it's a really long class name.
Now let's see what's going on here. You've got an image that has a class name of info box weather icon. Let's have a look at this in weather.html. In weather.html, you can see this line has this image. Image class is equal to info box weather icon. So this is the one that we are styling now. So back in our style sheet, we start adding some styling information here. We set its height to 30 pixels and we set its width also to 30 pixels.
Let's type
30
this out.
pixels.
Height.
But we're going to do
30
something slightly
pixels.
different here. We're going to add
Width,
an exclamation
30
mark
pixels.
and the word important, and then place our semicolon. Now the reason we are doing this is because there might be a clash between line 155 and the styling in line 144. So in line 144, we set all images inside info box full to 100% width. Here we are setting the info box weather icon image to width 30%, but by stating that this is important, it means no matter what the scenario, please override what's in line 144.
Bootstrap.css
Alright, the next thing we do is
I won't talk about that right now.
we
It's
give it a
going to
margin.
confuse people. But make sure you check out the Web Basics playlist, and yeah.
Of
Actually, I
10
don't think I use
pixels
Bootstrap in that
all
playlist.
around.
So I'll be making videos about Bootstrap and Tailwind as
And
well.
finally, we float it to the left.
So margin of 10 pixels. What is that, 10 or? Yeah, margin 10 pixels. And then we want to float it to the left.
And add our semicolon. Now let's save this and see what it looks like in the browser. Back in our browser, we refresh, and fantastic. All our icons are now resized beautifully. The next thing we're going to do is to style this H1 so that the text is much larger than it is currently. So back to our style sheet, we style H1 dot info dash box dash weather dash.
Let's type up this now. You should have really used shorter class names, because this is annoying to type out. But I do see why he does that, because it gives everyone like practice typing this out. I think a lot of people will spell it wrong, and then they'll learn to spell it correctly and make sure that it's spelled correctly. So yeah, it's just annoying to type out.
Icon, that's quite a large name. Alright, we set the font size to 65 pixels. The font weight we'll set to 200. Remember, font weight does not have any unit. It's just a number. We'll set its padding all round to 0. And finally, its margins all round we'll set to 0. Let's save this and have a look in our browser. Back in the browser, we refresh, and there we go. Our text is nice and large. One last thing to do, and that is to style our table so that it takes up the full width of the screen.
Let's do this now.
So we put in a selector for table. Again, we don't put a hash or a dot because the table tag is a built-in HTML tag.
So the reason why we're just styling table here is we don't have any ID or class or anything on this, and it's the only table in our entire website, so there's no reason to put any ID or class on this. Nothing else will get styled if we just style the table tag directly. But obviously for like a H tag here, we can't style that directly because then every single H tag on our entire website would get styled. So yeah, we're styling table here.
We set its width to 100%. And finally, we set a style for the TD. We set its border top to a 1 pixel solid line, and we'll set the color to hash.
We go down here, TD, and we'll set a border top of 1 pixel solid. And I'm just gonna say black here. You can type out that code, whatever it gives you there. I'm just gonna use the color black. And you can see it adds a black border to the top of each of these.
One three 1 3 1 3. Right, let's save this and see what this looks like in our browser. In the browser, we refresh, and fantastic.
And also, like, notice how I'm using different things here. So I said the word black, and you may think I'm being lazy by not typing out exactly what he says, which I am. But you also want to be playing around and typing your own values in here. Don't just like copy whatever he does, because then you won't be learning anything. So, like for example here, change this font weight to 500 and save it and see what it does. Then change it back and see what it changes. Change this font size here to like 20 pixels and see what that does. See, that made this smaller. So yeah, play around with all the code and figure out what everything does. Don't just like copy whatever he does here.
Our weather page is now 100% ready.
So I'm hitting next here. Now we're doing the feedback page. And you know what, like handling forms here, it's gonna look a bit easy to set up here. But when you're actually working with forms for real, it's really annoying. Okay, I won't confuse anyone, but it's really annoying to like filter out that data and make sure it's all correct and stuff. Because the user literally can type in anything there, so yeah.
The final page we're going to make is the feedback page. Now the feedback page is very similar to most of the other pages that we made. It's got a white semi-transparent box. Inside the box you've got an image. Below that you've got a heading, some text, and then we've got some form elements. 2 text input boxes, 1 text area, and 1 button. So a user can come in, type something there, and then hit submit. And when the user hits submit, it takes them to a confirmation page that simply says thank you and the message has been received, etc. So we're going to make these 2 pages now. Back in our code, we're going to create the 2 files for our 2 pages. So we go to the left margin, right click, click on new file, and the first one we're going to call feedback.html.
Let's do this, but first let's close both of these. Again, make sure you clicked here and not inside the images folder or something. And click new file up here. And feedback.html.
This file will contain the page with our form. And the second one we'll call message-received.html.
Okay, let's do that as well. Message dash rec. I'm not going to type out the full word. In fact, if I was making this project myself, I'd have named this msg dash rec. But yeah, anyways, so now we have the feedback.html and the message received.html.
This one will contain the feedback message after the user hits the submit button on the form. So let's go and look at the feedback.html. Now the feedback.html form will be very similar to most of the other pages that we have. So we'll simply go and copy any page and simply modify it rather than retyping everything. So let's go to amphitheater.html, press Ctrl A to select everything, Ctrl C to copy, and
let's go to amphitheater.html to copy everything from here. Ctrl A, Ctrl C, and first time to close this, and we'll go to the feedback page here and paste it in. Yeah, let's hit back.
and we'll paste it into feedback.html. Now we just simply make some modifications. The image I'm going to use is the one of the giraffes. So I'm going to
Image here. Okay. So giraffe. I think that's the one.
select the giraffe image. And next I'm going to change the heading. We'd love to.
I'm just going to write the word feedback here.
All right, I'm going to put in a paragraph here. I'm going to delete. Well, let's just delete all of this.
Okay, let's delete all of the p tags here.
And paste in a paragraph. Now immediately below the paragraph, I start putting my text input boxes. So I'll say input type is equal to text, placeholder is equal to your name. Now what is this placeholder? The placeholder is the text that will appear inside the box before your user actually starts typing. So it gives the user an indication what to type inside that box.
Input. The type will be text, and the placeholder, I think he said name there.
Box. And finally, we'll give it an ID of name.
Okay, and I'm to give it an ID as well here.
And close the tag. Next, and another input type is equal to text. Placeholder is equal to your email, and ID is equal to email / close. Our text area comes next. This one also has a placeholder.
create a placeholder, and I'll say type your feedback, and then here for the name I'll put I don't know, let's see what he does. You can actually just type anything in here, but let's just go along with what he does here. Before I end this section, I'm going to explain how the forms actually work, because here he's just typing it in so that it looks good, but that's not actually how it works. If this was a real web page, you can't submit this form.
All right, the moment we close that angle bracket, the closed tag appears immediately after it. And finally, we'll put a hyperlink, which we are going to style.
Okay, so it looks like he doesn't even fill in a name and an ID here, so I'll just get rid of that. And then at the bottom here, he puts a tag
as a button. And we'll set its href to the message received page. So when the user clicks on the
tag with the class of button, and the href will be in the message received page.
this button, it will link them to the message received page, and type in there submit. Let's check this out.
Okay, so now if we hit feedback down here, it won't take us anywhere. We need to link it, so let's go to that weather page where we are right now, or let's do it on the index page. So I'll click map here to go to the index page, and in index.html at the bottom here, we want this feedback button to take us to feedback.html, so I'll save that and close the index page. And now we need to be on that index page, make sure you are, and we click on feedback here. It will take us to this feedback page. And this is what it looks like. So now let's head back here
in our browser, but before we do that, we need to update our menu bar. Alright, so we start with index.html, and we go to tabs bottom, and we set the menu feedback item to link to feedback.html. And that's how we're going to link to this page for the time being. Of course, we're going to have to update all of the pages in our app, but we'll start with the index for now. So we go to the map page, click on feedback, and there you have it.
Okay, so
Taking
this is
shape.
the same as ours.
It's just that this section, the form section, needs a bit of styling, which we're going to do shortly. Now let's do the message received page. So we go back to the feedback page. And here again, we'll simply copy everything, select, Control C, and we go to message received and Control V.
Okay, so we want the same thing. And here's, we'll go to the message page now and paste that in. And then obviously we're going to get rid of the form, but let's just go along with him. We won't do anything ourselves here.
We'll remove the form, change the image.
So let's remove the form here. And let's change the image. What does he use?
We're going to put the pandas now.
We'll use this panda, not the panda-tn. think all the images labeled TN here are like smaller images meant for thumbnails. So we'll just use the panda.jpg here. And I'll save that.
Change the heading. And finally, we'll change the paragraphs. First one will say your message has been received. Didn't spell that correct.
Okay, so here we'll put thank you. And then put a p tag under this to say your message has been received. I'm just going to say message received here. Anyways, that should be right. Let me just minimize this, and yeah. And it looks like we accidentally typed this into the feedback instead of the message. So I'm going to press Ctrl Z over and over again to undo all of this. Okay, so let's save this. Go to the messages one now. And in here, we want to remove all of these form elements. And then here we want to change this giraffe thing to a panda. And then we want to change this H3 to say thank you. And then here we want to put a p tag. So in this p tag we want to say message received. So save that. Now if we hit submit, it will take us to that message received page. Okay. So if you ever make a mistake like that, just press Ctrl Z to undo it. If it's a really huge mistake, you might not be able to Ctrl Z all the way back. So just make sure you are typing into the correct files and stuff. You always want to double check.
Correctly. Still didn't spell it correctly. There we go. And one more paragraph to say we will respond shortly. Now this message will not actually go to anyone because our app is not connected to the internet as yet. So it will just simply display this page and that's it. All right, let's save this and see if it works. So in our feedback form, we hit submit and there we go. Fantastic.
So we've already seen this. Let's click next here. But before that, I told you I was going to explain something here. And that's this like form with the inputs and the text area and stuff. This is not actually how it works, but it does look right when you type it this way. So if this were an actual thing that we built, we need to surround all of this in a form tag, and we need to give that form tag an action and a method, and that will tell it like where to send the data and how to send it, like if you want to use post requests or get requests or whatever. And yeah, make sure you check out my other videos as well, because I will make videos like explaining how all of that stuff works. So make sure you're subscribed. I'm trying to get to 1,000 subscribers. And yeah, I'm going to click next here now.
The last thing we're going to do is to style our form in the feedback page. To do this, we go to our style sheet.
So
we
now
add a comment at the bottom.
CSS.
Let's simply copy this one and paste it at the bottom of the page. And we'll type in form. Here now we're going to start by adding some styling for our text input boxes. Again, you don't need the dot or the hash because the input tag is a built-in HTML tag.
So let's do that. Input.
We'll
we
give this
open our
guy
curly
a width
braces.
of 100%. So it takes the full width of the
Width
box in which it's
100%.
contained. We'll give it a height of 25 pixels.
Of 25 pixels.
Alt or all-round margins
Margin.
of 12 pixels and 0. Now what does this do? Why are there only 2 values here rather than 4? The reason is because this is a kind of shorthand method of assigning margins to an element. The 12 pixels will refer to top and bottom, and the 0 pixels will refer to both left and right. Finally, we'll give it a border of 1 pixel, solid line, and a color of hash.
I'm just gonna put black there again. So border 1 pixel, solid, and black.
929292. Put in the semicolon. Let's save this and see what it looks like in our browser. Back in our browser, we go back to index because the only page that actually links to feedback is the index page. Refresh it, and there we go. You can see it's taken the full width of the screen, has a lovely border, and inside there you can see the placeholder text is there. Alright, let's now style the text area. This guy's width will also be 100%.
Styling here for the text area. Width 100%.
We'll give him a height of 65 pixels. And he'll also get a margin of 12 pixels and 0, and a border of 1 pixel, solid, hash 929292. Finally, we'll style our button dot. Alright, so the class button will be styled in this way.
Yeah, and don't forget to add the dot here, because now we're using a class name. Here we're styling tags, here we're styling a class name. So make sure you have that dot.
A display type of block. A width of 100%. We'll give it a background color of forest green. Which is a color we used before. It's a very lovely dark shade of green.
That's the exact color here.
Of course, we want
There's no reason to follow
the underline
the
to
exact same
disappear.
colors. Now you can type your own colors.
So we'll give it a text decoration of none.
Text decoration none. Because remember, it is a link to begin with, so I'm going to take out that underline. And we also want to center it, I think. So text align center. Okay, let me just go along with them. I'll type it out myself.
Text align will be center.
Center.
We'll give the text a color of white.
So remember
The font
here,
size,
when we're giving a background color, we type background dash color. When we're giving text a color, we just type color. We don't type text dash color or anything like that. It's just the word color. So we set that to white here, and then
we'll set to a nice large 16 pixels font weight.
Font size 16 pixels.
We'll set to 600.
Font weight we set to 600.
And this guy will also get an identical margin to the other elements on the screen, which is 12 pixels top and bottom and 0 pixels left and right. And finally, we'll give it some padding. 8 pixels on top, 0 top and bottom, and 0 pixels left and right. Let's save this and see what it looks like in our browser.
See what it looks like. And yeah, that
Back in the
looks
browser,
good.
we refresh, and there we have it. Our form is now complete and it looks beautiful. Hit the submit button and it goes to the thank you page. Our app is almost ready. Now there's only one last thing left to do, and that is to fix the menu items in all of the other pages. So for example, when you go to the animals page and you hit feedback, it actually links to nowhere. Places, hits feedback and it goes to nowhere. What we need to do is, just as we did with the index.html page, where
so here you want to go through each of the pages, like for example elephant.html, and then here at the top you want to make sure all of your links are filled out, so the hrefs should point to actual pages here, and then all the way at the bottom the hrefs should point to actual pages here as well. So I'll just fill out this one page so you can see how it's done. The weather one here should point to weather.html, and the feedback one here should point to feedback.html. And then just go through all of the pages and make sure they're all set up correctly like that. I'm not going to do every single one because it's just repetitive, and yeah.
we fixed up the hyperlink for feedback, we need to do this in the remainder of the pages. For example, if we go to the animals page and scroll all the way to the bottom, okay, here you see that the weather as well as
the it's just explaining the same thing here. I'm gonna hit next. And yeah, deployment.
Hi everyone. In this video, I'm going to show you how to compile your HTML code into an Android app. To do this, we'll be using Adobe PhoneGap Build. PhoneGap Build is a cloud-based application that allows you to upload.
Okay, so now it's actually showing us how to package what we just built into an Android app
in the cloud, and then give you an APK that you can.
Let me just pause this before we continue here. So when you're building an actual app, this is probably the worst way you can possibly do it. Like, who wants an app that just does all of this weird stuff here? You want an actual app with actual buttons and not just a web page that's HTML and CSS. To do that, you'll use a language like React Native, or you can even use the actual Android Studio with the language called Kotlin. But yeah, make sure that don't have any hopes in building actual apps with this. HTML and CSS is more for websites. If you actually try to build an app with this, it's just going to be an informational app. It's not going to do anything useful. So yeah. Maybe with JavaScript as well, you can add some functionality to it, but this is really not the way we build actual apps. So let me just head back and hit play here.
Install on your Android device. It's free to use, and you do not need to download or install any additional software. All you need to do is head over to build.phonegap.com and sign up for a free account. To sign up, click on the Get Started button and click on the free plan. Next, click
And
on
don't get me wrong though, because like building stuff like this for HTML pages, it's worth something. Like people will hire you to do landing pages and stuff for their business. But like, don't think you're gonna do actual apps with this. I don't think anyone will want an app that's just an informational app like this. But again, yeah, you can get like jobs to do like landing pages and stuff for people's businesses. And I did actually just get a client recently that wanted a landing page for their business.
get an Adobe ID.
So anyways, I'm not going to go through this video on stream. There's nothing for me to do here. So you can watch this deployment video if you want in your own time. And I think I'm going to end the stream here. And yeah, make sure you're subscribed as well. And I'll see you in the next video.